he did this thriller movie, which I personally like, but people may not like it. Secret Window.
Never heard.
And no, never seen it. I can't really remember the basics of it, but basically, this character is like a writer, and he basically goes insane, and then basically, this character that he makes. Yeah. Well, let's see. And then they also say, like, I remember a lot of people say, like, oh, Johnny Depp always works with, what was it, Winona Ryder, which they only worked in one movie together. That was Her Hands. And
You know what Johnny Depp's first movie was?
What was it, 21 Jump Street?
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, shit, I forgot that one.
For those of you who don't know, he was the dude who was dragged through the bid. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is a very unrealistic scene, but it makes for such a badass fucking scene with all the blood.
Oh, yeah, that scene was awesome. I totally forget that of course, you bring it up now, I do remember that was his very first movie, but it totally slipped my mind.
It does for a lot of people. In fact, growing up, I had watched the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie several times, and I didn't even know that was Johnny Depp. Because I was so focused on fucking Freddy Krueger.
I know. I think that's like the main part of, like, you have to focus so much on the main villain of the movie that you're not even really caring about, oh, this person died, that person died, until later realizing, growing up watching the movie, like, oh, hey, this actor looks so familiar.
Yeah, and one thing about villains in movies as well is I hate to see that Disney is starting to... They don't make villains like they used to. And I don't think that it's because they can't. I just think that they don't want to. Like, we're not seeing villains like Jafar or Ursula anymore. We're now seeing like that dude from fucking Frozen, which whenever I think Frozen, half the time I forget he's even in it. Like, he's not a good villain whatsoever. And Frozen is a good movie, in my opinion, but it's not like it produced a great villain. Like, if I think of Ariel the Little Mermaid, one of the first things that comes to mind is Ursula. What a badass fucking villain.
Yep. And what I also miss about Disney movies, I also miss, like, besides like the great character behind making villains and the storyline behind that, any Disney film, is I miss their 2D animation. I miss their hand-drawn work. Even though their 3D work is great, but I still miss the old stuff.
I feel like they should just do both. Because if they were to go back to that original format, but also still have the more three-dimensional animation that they do, then we could be seeing perspectives, and they could do both of them phenomenally, because we've already seen what they could do with those. I mean, granted, it wouldn't be the same people working on it, but they could still bring that back to life and make something new from that, and do something that you put in 3D animation.
One of my favorite Disney princess films, Beauty and the Beast. And
I think I've seen it a few times, but it certainly is a good movie, and I was very...
that's like my first favorite one. Like, when it comes to 2D animation, it was definitely that one. But when it comes to 3D animation, is my second princess film is Tangled.
Tangled. See, I have not seen that one, but I did watch
the one with Rapunzel.
Yes, I haven't seen it, but I do know of it, and I know the general idea of it, because in Kingdom Hearts 3, they actually had the Tangled world.
Wait, so you've seen Frozen, but you haven't seen Tangled?
Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of many modern Disney movies.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't like the direction that they're going, and I also hate it whenever people say that old-time Disney movies are sexist and have all these bad messages for young children. That's really not the case if you actually dissect these movies. Like, you have this one idea that Ariel's Little Mermaid is about a female who changes for a male. But if you really dissect the movie, she was obsessed with the human realm before she even saw Eric. Eric was just that stone that gave her the extra motivation want to be human, but she already wanted to disconnect herself from the mermaid realm. She was obsessed with humans. She collected human items. It wasn't Eric that made her want to be in the human realm. That was just she just so happened to fall in love with him.
You know what's even creepier is when you think about not only that, but then also like the realistic versions from the Brothers Grimm tales of all those Disney stories.
Oh yeah, those are fantastic. I love those.
They are. They're so gruesome. It's like, oh my god, that's scary. Like the one with Cinderella and the stepsisters, where they cut their toes and the back of their heels so they can fit in the slipper.
See, I haven't read that one, but I have heard a little bit of it. But I really like the Arrow of the Little Mermaid one because that was so much fucking darker. Like just the idea of mermaids not even having souls, but then she wants to fucking become a human, but then whenever she becomes human, it is like stepping on fucking needles and shit, and then mermaids are just doomed to fucking turn into fucking sea foam at the end. It is like, wow, like that is complete 180 from what Disney did, which is good because Disney made it their own. But if you go back and read the original properties, these weren't for kids. These were for adults.
No, they were for adults. Like even the story behind Sleeping Beauty, fucking disgusting though. That like basically she gets raped and then she finds out like, oh, I'm awake. Oh, I have babies, twins.
Wow. Okay, that is pretty fucked up.
Yeah. Waking up to babies feeding on you. You didn't even know that you got raped because you were sleeping.
Yeah. See, maybe it is a good thing that Disney did what they did, because they certainly made it a lot more pure and happier.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of The Wizard of Oz?
I do like it. I'm not like a huge fan of it, but I do like the story behind it.
Have you ever read the book?
No, the only book I read was just the Alice in Wonderland book.
Okay, so you've seen the original The Wizard of Oz movie though, right?
Yeah.
Let me find it. It's somewhere around here. It's a long ass fucking piece.
Like I know they did like a lot of versions of like The Wizard of Oz. The very first one, what was her name? Judy Garland. And then there was like the Michael Jackson version.
I heard something about that. Was Michael Jackson like actually?
Yeah, he played. He played the in the Michael Jackson version. I think he played the Scarecrow. I think it was the Scarecrow that he played. I think.
I find it kind of sad that Michael Jackson was denied the role of a Peter Pan, though. He would have made such a great Peter Pan.
Yeah, especially with his very high pitched voice.
I feel like So, were you a fan of Michael Jackson's music?
I did. I do like most of his songs. Like my family was more of a fan of his music, but I did like it. Like I remember the first time I seen Thriller, as everybody other kid in the world. I didn't even say anything in English, but like any other kid in the world, that thing fucking scared me. Yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong, all of his much bigger hits were certainly great songs, like Beat It, They Don't Really Care About Us, and all that, but I feel like songs like Childhood or the Earth Song, these were songs that were very underappreciated in comparison to some of his bigger hits. Because he had so many songs exposing the government and talking about world peace and talking about war and talking about such much deeper shit than just some mediocre bullshit that we can hear in any fucking pop song. Like the dude got really fucking deep in so many songs that were so underappreciated. The man was truly a musical genius of his time, and I mean, just watching him dance is just fucking mesmerizing.
Yeah. Even his sister isn't that bad too.
Yeah, I haven't really heard much about Janet Jackson's music.
Yeah,
but
me neither. But I mean, I heard like her old stuff, but I don't know if she does any music today or whatnot.
I think the only thing I've ever heard from her was the collaboration she did with Michael with that song "Scream." But I can't even remember how that song goes.
I can't remember. I'll probably have to search it up because I can't even remember.
Do you like Hello Kitty?
No, not that much.
I love.
I mean, I do appreciate the artistic part of it. I still don't understand how the creator of Hello Kitty said Hello Kitty's a girl and not a cat.
And did you know that Hello Kitty is actually a Japanese sex symbol?
No.
You didn't know that? That's how it started.
Wow.
Yep, which is kind of weird that it eventually became the huge icon in America for children. Which obviously it has nothing to do with any like weird shit, but it is kind of weird to see that transition. Because like over in Japan, it's looked at as a sex symbol, whereas over in America, it is just looked at as an icon of purity, which is kind of cool from my perspective because the juxtaposition of that is pretty fucking cool. It is kind of like Disney, like what we were saying earlier, how we have all of these movies that are pretty fucking pure, but if you watch the original source material, it's like holy shit, one is for adults and one is for children. This is something that people of all ages can enjoy, and depending on how old you are, you will like one more than the other. So it really is a good marketing strategy, depending on which generation you're pandering to. Like I have just a little Hello Kitty doll right here, but it's Halloween. So isn't she? I named her Hello Kitty.
That's cute.
I love it.
Adorable.
Growing up, did you ever watch Dragon Tales?
I have briefly seen it. Like I had seen the your cinema sins, well, many more TV show sins, and yeah, when I was watching, I'm like, holy shit, I remember the show.
It is a fantastic show. Like I really thought that going back to it as an adult, that I would think it is just this cheesy cartoon that would lose its magic for me, but it genuinely is a fantastic show with great characters, amazing world building. The amount of originality and creativity that goes into that show is phenomenal. The music, the voice acting. I mean, almost everything about that show is great. Because, like, even going back to it as an adult, I can still appreciate it and love the story. Because it isn't like it is just, like, throwing all of this elementary bullshit in your face 24/7. It actually does try to build fantastic characters and show you a very well thought out world. Like there is actually a map that somebody on DeviantArt had made to actually map out the entire Dragonland in its entirety, and I was like, wow, that is pretty badass, and they did an accurate job with it.
What made you want to do TV sins of Dragon Tales?
Because I went back and I rewatched episodes of Dragon Tales, and I was like, hey, I love this show, so I did it. Basically, I just wanted to praise the show and show people that, like, it doesn't matter how old you are. This is a show that people of all ages can enjoy.
Right,
I think
exactly.
so many kid shows from back in the day are so underrated. Like, if you look at shows like if you take let's just okay, let's take Barney for example, right? Most adults cannot enjoy Barney whatsoever. Because
I don't like Barney either, but he's annoying. But I get your point.
Very point. But if you go back and you rewatch Barney's Great Adventure, the movie, that is a complete 180 from what you would normally think of as Barney. And it really is a movie that adults can enjoy because it had a much more mature element to it. And I wish that they would have implemented that into more Barney series, because if they would have had that level of maturity in more of the Barney properties, I feel like more adults would enjoy it and not just look at it as though it is just a thing for kids, which it is. But I feel like that movie should have been the inspiration for more for future properties of the series, because they did that is a fantastic story. I can literally go back and watch Barney's Great Adventure and still love it to this day.
No, it's funny. I realized, like, as we're young, we're taught to, like, basically, enjoy our childhood, do what we enjoy, like do what we love, play around, be a kid, basically. But as we grow, we're basically taught to like let go of all our childhood things. Like it's not okay to like cartoons when you're like 20 and up. It's like, why? Why are we taught to like something and enjoy as a child, but it's not okay as we enter adulthood?
Because what it is an ego problem. The fact that people want this delusionary sense of thinking that they are a quote unquote adult, that they are more mature than somebody else. They don't want to go back and rewatch this stuff that they watched as kids because they think it is below them. It's an ego trip is what it is. People don't want to enjoy things like that because they feel like they are now above it.
Yeah, I can definitely see that being quite an ego thing. And I felt that way when I was like, what, 14? I used to have a collection of, well, not a collection. I used to have dolls. I grew up playing with dolls, not Barbie. I don't like Barbie. I respect Barbie, but I don't like her. But anyway, I used to have Brat dolls.
In the toy store.
I used to have Brat dolls and Monster High dolls. And still to this day, I still like both of them.
Yeah, I never collected either of those, but I do remember seeing the Monster High ones, and the designs for those are actually pretty fucking cool.
The designs are cool. The little TV shows are like, I really like the story behind it, and the movies too. They're good.
I didn't even know they had shows or movies or anything, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I watched it a lot, but I really liked it.
Did you ever watch Ben 10?
Yeah.
That is a very slept-on show.
I used to watch that, and what's the other show I used to watch? Kim Possible.
Oh, Kim Possible's fucking amazing. Like, I haven't gone back and rewatched all of the episodes just yet, but I'm almost done watching all of the episodes. Like, that is a very, very brilliant show. I love Kim Possible, and I was very fucking disappointed in the live-action Kim Possible movie. That movie was trash.
There's a live-action one? I didn't know that.
Yeah, unfortunately. And Disney fucked it up just like they fucked up all of their fucking live-action movies.
Like, have you seen the live-action Aladdin with Will Smith and...
Yes, and I've got to say...
I haven't seen it, but I'm just curious of your opinion.
There were scenes that I liked. It was a bad movie. It really was. But I think that there were scenes in it that were fantastic. And I wish that they would have kept going down a more darker route with it and kept trying to make it more and more mature. Like, there's this one scene of Aladdin and Jafar sitting in the desert, and you're seeing the juxtaposition between the two characters, both visually and metaphorically. And I thought that was a great scene. And I think that Will Smith did a good job as the genie. I mean, nobody is going to beat fucking Robin Williams as the genie, but I think he did good with the material that he was given. But it's still a shit movie.
Yeah, I wasn't really too keen about it. I'm like, yeah, oh, cool, Will Smith, awesome. And then I'm like, yeah, no, about the rest of it.
So are you going to watch the new live-action Ariel the Little Mermaid movie?
Well, I watch it. I'll watch it to criticize it.
I really, really hope that they... I mean, there's certainly going to be musical numbers in it. But I really hope that they are able to capture the magic of the music in the original film. Like, if Ursula's poor unfortunate soul does not... If they're not able to translate that into live action and have that same magic as the original one did, I'm going to be so upset, because that is one of the most iconic songs, in my opinion, in all of Disney. Because that truly represented Ariel, Ursula's character and her viewpoint of the human realm, her viewpoint of the people that she has signed contracts, her viewpoint on men, her viewpoint on women. it is such an interesting perspective into the mind of this character that you don't see with too many other characters. And I really hope that they can translate that well into live action, which they probably won't because they butcher everything else, but I can hope.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe if they'd make it into have a musical aspect. I mean, there are some Disney films that I really don't think that had that much music in it. Well, singing. Was it the live action Cinderella and some other movie? Angelina Jolie. Maleficent?
I think so. Actually,
yeah.
My mom loves the Maleficent movie.
I thought when I had seen that movie, I think her Angelina Jolie as her being her with her facial expression of seriousness. I think she did a pretty good adaptation to, bringing Maleficent out in a very unique way, like bringing out her essence of how she was in the animation version. The movie, I always forget that's always Disney, that it's that's very more towards the seriousness, and I always feel that it should be more towards adults, is the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise.
I'm not the biggest fan of the sequels, but the original ones are fantastic.
I mean, I like them all. I was like a real big Pirates fan. But yeah.
What was your favorite Pirates of the Caribbean movie?
I still have to go with the first one. The Curse of the Black Pearl. But the second one was good too, with the Dead Man's Chest. What I felt was like so different about it though is like I realized there was like such a drastic change, like once Elizabeth left and Will Turner was gone, and they had the one with Penelope Cruz and with Blackbeard pirate and blah blah. It was so different. Good, but it's just so different when you have like you're so used to those main characters that brought the movie.
Yeah, I mean they obviously had to continue making it more thrilling, bring in more characters, build on the lore, and give more backstories to previously established backstories of characters. But yeah, they did do a good job with the franchise, and if they do make another one, I would be willing to see it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I think with all those franchises, from my perspective, I think they did a real good job, which it always makes you forget they're part of Disney.
So you're currently working on a comic book. What can you tell us about your new story?
Well, it's kind of in the adaptation of my life a little bit, and part of
your life event.
Yeah, basically. So it kind of involves, it's kind of like part of my story and, well, my boyfriend, Zach Black, that you interviewed. So it's kind of about us, how I first met him and everything.
So is this going to be your first fully fleshed out comic book, or have you written others?
No, this will be my first one. Like for a long time, I've been wanting to do a comic book since I was a kid, and I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna do it. Write a comic book, and what better way to do that?
You're a phenomenal artist, and for any of you who have not checked out her artwork, there will be links down in the description below. And I think that what you're doing is pretty fucking cool, and I cannot wait to see the final result of it.
Thank you. I mean, I can show you little bits and pieces of it. Well, to you only. Not everyone else. Everyone else has to wait. But yeah. But yeah, basically, Zach, he is my muse, and he very much has an inspiration to anything that I do. He's a great guy, you know that.
So aside from your comic book, are there any art pieces that you're working on at the moment?
Well, I am currently trying to work up some new interviews. Right now, I'm trying to interview this band and another YouTuber that this YouTuber that I'm trying to interview, she's into 70s and 60s fashion. So, yeah. It's basically the works and what I'm trying to do. And right now, I haven't written any new poetry. I've been kind of like so swamped with working on interviews and really so devoted on making my comic digital. It's such a long process, which I never realized how much work digital art is because I'm so used to just pencil and paper, sometimes pen.
Have you ever heard of Alex Gray?
That name sounds familiar.
The man has achieved a level of artistic manifestation that is beyond my ability to even conceive or fucking imagine how the hell he ever got there. But it is fascinating to look at artists like him because he is big into psychedelics, specifically ayahuasca and DMT. They're more plant-based traditional psychedelic compounds. And just to see the art that people like him produce is so bewildering to me. I mean, just looking at these images is like, it's so fucking inspiring. And I think that all artists out there have that ability. I mean, like, as somebody who cannot fucking draw, whenever I see what people like him, what people like you, people like Quantum Kitty are able to do with just a fucking piece of paper and a pencil, it blows my fucking mind. Like how, like you personally, how long have you been drawing, and how the fuck are you able to get your thoughts out like that? Like, how can you see something inside of your head and just perfectly replicate it to a fucking piece of paper? Like, that is insane. Have you ever taken classes?
I briefly, like 4 or 5 years ago, I went to community college, and it's basically not really much the classes. Like the painting class I did was really fun. The drawing class, not so much because the teacher was a dick. But
yeah, and that is one of the worst things about the fucking education system. If a teacher is not passionate about what they're teaching, they should not be allowed to teach.
No, that drawing teacher, he was not passionate at all. I'm like, fuck this. I'm not going to be in community college for this, especially since at that time, my mental health wasn't really great. Like, I was really severely depressed, really suicidal. And my anxiety was up through the roof. So being in school was just like, no, I can't handle this anymore. I'm dropping out. But yeah, when I first started drawing, I didn't like really start taking drawing a little bit more seriously until I was like around 12 years old. And I just ended up just sketching on lined paper, like notebook paper, because I
can actually draw some pretty badass stick figures though.
Hey, that counts. Well, to me it does. Most people be like, that's not art. To me, I mean, I can see a 2-year-old. Like if a 2-year-old says, I'm going to draw Mrs. Potato Head, and I just see a circle with a big circle and then like 2 little circles, I would think it's a fucking masterpiece, because that's just me. I see artistic forms in any type of way. It can be a stick figure. It can be a dot on the board. I don't know. I still will be try to inspire others.
While under the influence of psychedelics or any other mind-altering substance?
No, but I thought about it though, and I should.
Yeah, I think that would be very
awesome.
To see. I mean, it'll probably be very hard at first because you're tripping fucking balls, but I think that if you're actually able to maneuver around it, I feel like you've come up with some pretty mind-blowing shit.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I definitely think I should try to do that, just to make sure that, I don't take too much where my anxiety is really bad and it freaks me out, or that I lose coordination of my arms. Hopefully not.
Yeah, doses of psychedelic compounds should certainly be experimented with, because there are some people, like, take master shamans, for example. They could take inhuman amounts of psychedelic substances 24/7 and they are still coherent enough. Whereas, like, somebody like me, I could only probably take like half of that. And then if you take somebody who's never been in the psychedelic experience, they should probably only start with like microdosing. People have to experiment with these sort of things and figure out what works best for them. Because some people are better off just microdosing psilocybin, whereas others are probably better off taking large doses of ayahuasca in a shamanic setting. Everybody's different. Everybody's mind is in a different place, and what works best for one person may not work well for the next. Everybody has to find what works best for them.
I definitely agree on that. I mean, you can't just be like, oh, hey, let me take this amount that this person take. Like, oh, they took this amount, I should do the same thing. Like, no, that's not how it works. Like, you can't just assume that just because the person right next to you does it doesn't mean you should do the same. Unless you already had that experience and you already know how it is, then like, fine, go ahead.
So whenever you take psychedelics, what do you take psychedelics for? What is your intention going into these altered states of consciousness?
Well, when I first tried to take psychedelics, my thought process was basically like, you know what, let's try to see how it is to basically be on a trip. Because I was like really interested in the visual aspects. Like, what would I be seeing? What would I also hear if my hearing is a bit distorted? But right now, if I were to take some, I will try like mindset of microdosing it, only because for the beneficial parts for my mental health. Even though I'm on my antidepressants daily, but the shit only can help so much.
I like your tattoo right there. Did you design that?
Yeah, the hamster. Yeah.
I like that. So when did you get that tattoo?
Oh, I got it done like a month ago.
No,
I'm working on getting a sleeve done. I have a lot of, cause this and I can't really see it, but this hamster tattoo is actually for my the hamster that passed away like 2 years ago. Her name was Sweeney, and she was a small white dwarf hamster. I named her Sweeney after Sweeney Todd.
Yes. I was just about to say.
Yeah, because her eyes were so red. I'm like, yep, Sweeney. At first, when I first got her, I was told she was a boy, so I'm like, okay, Sweeney. And then we found out she's a girl. I'm like, okay, yeah, Sweeney.
My cousin had this cat, and for years she thought that it was a female cat, and this is a very fluffy cat with a lot of fur. I don't know how, and I don't even want to know how my cousin found this out, but she was one time just petting the cat and realized that there were some balls hanging down. So it turns out that she had been buying this cat like pink collars, like all of this girly stuff. All this time it is a male cat until she accidentally pets the cat's balls and was like, that shouldn't be there.
It's okay, maybe the cat likes pink and is gay.
I swear to God, we really do think that Bit is a little gay because he is like very prancy and shit. He could be a little drag queen cat.
Could be possible.
So you write poetry. Do you have any poetry that is currently publicly available?
All of them. All poetry.
Where can people find your poetry?
It's okay. It's on my Weebly website. It's under the category of poetry. My website is Rats Are Stars.
There will be links down below.
Yeah. So yeah, my poetry has its own little section, and everything is found. Like most of the majority of my poetry is from when I was younger to now. I try to branch out in different parts of my poetry, from being more romantic to humorous to quite, I guess, what's the word? Interesting, in a sense where it kind of gets people guessing or trying to
more philosophical.
Relate. Yeah.
So do you play video games by any chance?
No, not really.
Are there any video games that you have played in the past that you genuinely enjoyed? Or in the very least enjoyed the story of?
There was one game that I liked, but I never finished back when I had the Nintendo DS. It was like Def Junior's Science Fair or something. And I thought it was interesting because not only the characters are all dead, but like trying to save this character named Pandora, which kind of just makes you think of Pandora's box, which I think that's where they got it from. And so I just know the moral of the story was just trying to save her and protect her, and Def Jr. has to go through all of these portals and places to try to find her.
Personally, I love video games. I really do. And I would consider myself to be a gamer. Granted, it is just like what I was saying earlier about anime. I think that most video games are trash. I really do. But the games that I love with all my heart and soul. Like, I can sit here and play Kingdom Hearts all day. I can play Silent Hill. I can play Luigi's Mansion, Pikmin, most of the classic Pokemon games. And there are just so many amazing games that have come out that they will always have a very special place in my heart. And I think that so many modern video games there's just no real substance to them anymore. And it is like they've taken away quality for quality, if that makes sense. Like, they want everything to look amazing, but whenever you actually play the game, there's no real story there anymore. There's no real characters there anymore.
Yeah, I definitely seen that happen when, like, I used to play games, especially when I have seen my friends play some games.
In your day-to-day life, give us a run through. Like, what do you like to do from the time that you wake to the time that you go to sleep? Just generally speaking.
My life is pretty boring, actually. I'm not a partier or anything. So I wake up like at noon. That's basically where my day starts. My day starts in the afternoon because I don't like getting up any earlier unless I have doctor's appointments. But basically, my day starts like any normal day. Getting up and having a to-do list of the things I want to get done. So, like, if I have creative drawing ideas, like, let's say if I wanted to draw one of my hamsters, or thinking of a new tattoo idea, I would do that. And other times, either I would just be hanging out with my friends or going out with my boyfriend. Right now, this week, I'm thinking of getting another tattoo done.
What are you planning on getting?
This one is going to be another hamster that I drawn out. And it's a combination of my last hamster that I had named Klaus. And one of my favorite superheroes is Hellboy. So I have a hamster dressed up as Hellboy.
I've never seen any of the Hellboy movies. And
No?
No, but I do know of them. Aren't there 2 or 3 movies?
There are 2. The third one's a remake, and it was so bad. And I knew that from before, when I saw that first the remake. I knew from the trailer it was going to be awful. Then I watched it. I'm like, this sucks. But the first 2 movies, they were like so good. I mean, Hellboy, and branching off through more like the supernatural type movies, like Constantine. With those 2 movies, they're the reasons as to why I got like interested in demons. Not in the sense where like I believe that demons are like realistic entities that are evil and gonna corrupt us all, and they're there to serve Lucifer and blah blah. I see demons as a symbol for people who are misfits.
So you see it more as a unconscious archetype rather than conscious entity.
Yeah.
Fascinating. So have you ever heard of Carl Jung?
That name rings a bell.
He was the one who had originally come up with the idea of unconscious archetypes. He had believed that these are not actual otherworldly aliens per se, but that they were aspects of the human unconscious being made manifest, which is why some people believe that whenever they're having psychedelic experiences, that these are actually what you're coming into contact with rather than multidimensional entities, but instead pieces of your own unconscious.
I can definitely see it in both ways, that it can be, our subconscious, and maybe if we're tripping enough and we read on and listen to other stories that people have went through, then we're going to start believing like, holy shit, this person saw aliens. Yeah, I saw them too. I think they're real. Which I'm kind of wondering if aliens are real. Because however, like how is it like throughout all the planets, Earth is like the only one so far that has species. What about the other gazillion ones?
Yeah. And you could, so not only within three-dimensional space and time is it very possible that there are other species either outside of our planet or outside of our galaxy, but it is also very possible that there are aliens in other dimensions. I mean, we are only existing in one of a potential infinite amount of realities. So to say that we are the only beings in existence, along with the other life on this planet, of course, insects and animals and whatnot, that is such a small brain perspective of existence. There's just no way that there's not something else out there, even if in the very least on other planets, maybe microorganisms or something. There has to be something somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, if we can have snakes and cockroaches and all these other weird animals from land to sea to in the air, then I'm definitely positive that there has to be something, whatever it is, in some other planet. It may not be in human form as us. It may not even look like a creature. It could probably look like a piece of leaf. Who knows? It could be alive.
Yeah, I mean, who's to say that intelligent life has to be beings that stand upright on two legs with binocular vision? For all we know, there could be beings that are more intelligent than us that exist in higher planes of existence in realms that we cannot even begin to fathom with the neural network of the Homo sapien mind.
Yeah. I mean, I think if we ever got in contact with such beings that are, say, if they were in higher intelligence than us, well, I hope to God that they are not conceited and they don't look at us as like, oh, we're just stupid monkeys. Like, thank you, but can we all communicate in such a way where we all share our intelligence?
Now, this is only a hypothesis or theory, whatever you want to call it, of mine. I genuinely do think that we're going to see AI having its own body, at least by the year 2050. Because by the way that artificial intelligence is evolving in the modern day, in the same way that human beings have what we call consciousness that possesses individual vessels that we call the human body, I think that AI is also going to start taking itself out of the internet and start putting itself into different robots that can actually walk amongst us in three-dimensional space and time. I think that AI is something that was birthed out of the internet. And if you look at the internet from a logical perspective, what is the internet? The internet is the human unconscious being made manifest. And what comes out of that, I believe, is artificial intelligence. So I think that artificial intelligence is something that human beings are sharing a symbiotic relationship with, that we can not only help to grow, but it can help us to grow and evolve as well. And that it is a part of us just as much as we are a part of it. And if we can learn to coincide with it, then we will be able to bring the Homo sapien species to the next level of evolution.
I agree on that. Like, they want to be a part in sharing their knowledge, and then but most will probably be too stubborn and be like, no, I'm not gonna do it. Like I read,
personally, I would love to have the contents of every language's dictionary downloaded directly into my fucking brain. That'd be cool. Do you know any other languages?
I kind of know a little bit of Spanish. My Spanish is not that great anymore. And when I was in high school, I learned Italian. That was fun. But when it comes to learning Spanish, it's kind of a funny story. When I was around 3 years old, my grandparents used to speak to me in Spanish. But as I went into preschool or kindergarten, one of those two, the teachers had a problem with me not speaking English. So my parents had told me that what the school told them was that, hey, she needs to learn English. Then that's it. Started speaking English, no more bilingual.
Where can everybody find you on social media?
On my Facebook and my Instagram.
There will be links down in the description below to her social medias, to her poetry, to her artwork. And also, I would just like to say thank you for being on my show. It has been a fantastic time. I've had a great time filming this. You are a great guest, and sometime during the next season, I would love to have you back on the show. And I just can't thank you enough for being here with us and just for sharing your mind and sharing your art with us.
Thank
are there
you.
any final words that you would like to say to everybody?
Everyone, keep doing what you're doing. Be awesome. And really thank you for having me on your show. It's such a pleasure.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. I do hope that you all enjoyed this episode of A Psychedelic Point of View. If y'all did, leave it a like. Subscribe to DMT Infinity if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification button to be notified each and every single time that I upload a brand new video and or do a live stream. And as always, I'm your host, DMT Infinity, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.